Thanks for being here today. You like my t-shirt? This is the t-shirts we got for those who are going to be in sacred service tomorrow. Plus, you can buy them. If you want to place an order in the back, this is not staying up. See how this goes. They're $25 for anybody who wants to order one, and I can have it for you by next Sunday. Just so you know. So today I want to talk to you about what is your creation story. And we've all heard the Genesis creation story, and that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about yours, your personal story, the creation of the creative process that you were born with, that we were all born with. We're all born into this world with a connection to the divine that is powerful and tremendously creative. And then things happen, and we forget a lot of that and spend most of our lives trying to remember again. And that's how we found here, because we come into this teaching and we're like, oh, this is a teaching that talks about that creative power. This is a teaching that says, I remember, I know that there's something in me that's greater than I can imagine. This is going to drive me a little nuts, I think. Well, is what it is. So, when I was 6, here's my creation story, the way I remember it. When I was 6, my dad left for work the crack of dawn. My mom liked to sleep late. My younger brother and sister would get up, and we'd go into the kitchen, and I'd get them breakfast. For those who remember that talk, Frosted Flakes. After that, we'd go into the bedroom I shared with my brother, and every day I would create a game. I would make something up. For instance, this one day we took our beds and we put them in a row, and we were like hobos, and we jumped on the beds and we jumped from car to car, and then we'd stop at mythical places, and I would just make up the story as we were going along. And now we're doing this, and now we're doing that. And the kids, my brother and sister, they loved it. My parents loved it because it took care of my brother and sister. So I got a lot of feedback around creativity and how great it was and how great I was for having such creativity. And then in kindergarten, I watched this Western and got so inspired by it, I wrote a play based on the Western. It wasn't a long play, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And I got my friend and his brother and my 2 sibs and me to star in it. I directed it. I produced it. We sold tickets. We sold out. Go figure. And we put on this play. And once again, I got this incredible feedback for being so creative. And I'm like, okay, this is what life's all about. Life's all about being creative. This is what it is. And then I got to first grade. And my first day in first grade, the teacher says, you have to stay in your seat. I thought she was kidding. I mean, given my energy and how I am, I was sure that couldn't really be the case. So at some point, I get up and I start walking around the room. And she starts following me. So I start moving faster and she starts running. And all of a sudden, the kids are laughing and she's chasing me around the room. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I created another game. Isn't this great? Until I got home that night and my parents disciplined me rather harshly. And I was shocked. I was in complete shock that all of a sudden my creativity was not the most important thing. Following the rules was, and obeying adults. Now, it wasn't like I hadn't up to this point learned a little bit about obeying adults, but my parents, they tended, because they were so busy all the time, I really got to run a lot of the show, and so I was not used to these ideas. Slowly but surely, my creativity started to got lost in the idea that I cannot figure out how to be. Oh man. You know what? I'm just going to take this one. We'll figure that out another day. I wait. Okay, maybe I won't take this one. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Better idea. There you go. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Neil. How are we doing so far in the creative process of it all? At the age of 14, I tried to commit suicide. I was not able to figure out life at all. Figure out how to be in this world when I had such a strong sense of creativity that nobody seemed interested in anymore at all. I was clearly unsuccessful and actually got the idea from that there is something more to be taken in life. Now, my parents were not bad. They were not wrong. They were just doing what their parents showed them. You may have had a similar experience of having all this creativity as a kid, and then all of a sudden finding out that was not the most important thing. There were these other things that were more important, like getting along and listening and following the rules and those kinds of things. And in falling into that may have felt like your creativity, that innate creativity you had as a child was lost. I'm here to tell you that it wasn't. But it does get kind of hidden over. You know, there was a study done. A doctor interviewed over 2,100 children under the age of 6 because he found that it was just around that age that kids lost their connection to whatever it was that was greater than we can, see, feel, and touch. That below that age, they remembered things that they did not remember above that age. And some of the stories that these kids told were extraordinary. A lot of them had to do with past lives, which is what his interest in was about past lives. Now, I'm not here to talk about whether past lives are true or not true. I believe that there is a connection to something larger, a one. What we talk about here, this oneness, that we actually come in with having a very strong sense of. And so one of the stories that was collected, there were some really amazing ones. The one that sticks out at the moment had to do with a 4-year-old who was having nightmares. His kid's having nightmares every night. And when his parents are waking him up, he's talking about being shot out of the sky and drowning in water. And so the parents are thinking, maybe this is a good subject, maybe this doctor can help. So the doctor comes and interviews the child, and the child has incredible specifics, details around what happened, to the point where they not found the spot where the plane went down. They found the plane, and the kid, the 4-year-old's going, "That's me," when he's pointing to the skeleton inside the plane. That level of connection. So this isn't just fake stuff. They found the plane. It was there, right where the kid said it would be. Again, I'm not here professing that past lives are true or not true. What I am here saying is there a connection to a power and a presence that is undeniable, that we feel at a particular age very comfortable with. And then all of a sudden it starts to fade. Whoever your parents are, whatever experiences you've had in life, it's not the same, but it's not lost. And I think that's how we find this teaching. We find this teaching because it's not lost. We find this teaching. I mean, I remember walking into the room my first time and Dr. Waterhouse, Barbara, talking about how there's a power and a presence within me, not just out there, but within me, that is connected to a oneness of it all. And it resonated so strong in me that I wanted to come back. Maybe you've had a similar experience. Maybe that's what brought you here, was that sense that something resonates here, some power, some thought about how that power is. And so there's times that when we think about those days in childhood, we think about wouldn't it be nice to go back there? But no, we have lived these lives. We have built this experience. Things have happened. But wouldn't it be nice to integrate that? Your creation story. Because I promise you that all of you have one. All of you came in creative, every single one of you. All of you had an imagination. Maybe it was drawing. Maybe it was an invisible friend. It doesn't matter. But it was there, and it was creative, it was imaginative, and it has power and presence. And we get to have that now. In my life, I have gone through some very interesting different occupations. I mentioned last week 97 of them. Well, at some points in some of the different ones, I got to be involved in some firsts because that's what I love. That particular love never went away. My love of firsts, right? So I was involved when I was a stockbroker. Somehow I wound up in the company working with the person who brought forth the very first organic company public. I got to be involved with that. I was right there, making the decision as to which company we'd bring public first of all the organic. There weren't like there were that many back then. When I was in insurance, I came up with an idea that nobody had ever had before around offering a particular type of what's called a cafeteria plan to employees under 50. Turned out nobody had ever thought of that before. And me and the company, we made a boatload of money on that particular idea in terms of bringing that the thing that mostly large companies got involved with to smaller firms. Plus, people got a lot more choice as to what kind of insurance they had. It really created a choice that most employees in under 50 companies never had before. It was a first. I've mentioned to you guys, I was the first one to come up with the idea of online ministry for CSL, that I brought that forth. That's been my thread, right? But that's mine. That's my creation story. I'm here to ask you, what is yours? Because there is one. There's something you've been attracted to, whether it be healing, because I know there's a lot of nurses in this room, or it be drawing, or how you have done what your business, the way you have done it, that's been different from how others have done it. It's you came up with that idea on how to do it. It is yours. All of us have that. It may not be as obvious. Maybe you got to dig a little more, but it's there. This idea, this concept, this beauty of your creation story, your childlike creativity is still in you. It's not lost. You get to bring it forth. You get to bring it forth now. How do I know this? Because I keep doing it. But it's an integration process. I was involved. Sometimes I got so many. I was involved in, I've told you I've been involved in Native American sweat lodge ceremonies. And the thing about a sweat lodge that they'll tell you, especially if you're in a really hot one, is that you can't tough it out. You cannot tough it out. And you can't. You try to tough out a sweat lodge, your face is in the dirt before you know it. But what you can do is get to that place of knowing, get to that place of being connected. And then all of a sudden, it just doesn't feel so hot anymore. Maybe you have felt at times in your life your feet at the fire. Maybe you have felt at times like it took more than was physically possible for you to rise, for this to whatever it is in your life you want to happen. The possibility of this is always present. We're born with it. We're born with the possibility. When I was thinking about this, it brought tears to my eyes just to think, wow, the creativity that we bring. Last week I spoke about trailblazing. This week I'm saying in that trailblazing that you're doing anyway, you have a childlike creativity that is present with you always, that wants to express. And so we're going to do a little guided meditation to integrate that a little deeper. You guys up for that? All right. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and relax. Imagine yourself on a path. It is the perfect path. It is your path. How it feels beneath your feet, the air against your skin. The sights, the sounds, absolutely perfect. And you come to a clearing. It is the perfect clearing. It is your sanctuary. How it feels, the temperature, the view, absolutely perfect for you. Now imagine that there is a chair. It is the perfect chair. It is your chair. Go over and sit in it. And as you sit in it, feel the because it perfectly molds to your body in the most comfortable way. Take another deep breath and relax even more. Now imagine right in front of you is you as a child, you at your most creative. You when you remember yourself as joyous, happy, creative. Go back as far as you need to get to that place where you knew that this is what life was all about. You knew that life was about the creative, the imagination, the fun. And now allow that part of yourself to rejoin with you. Feel that child come closer. Feel it enter you. becoming one with you. That joy, that wonder, feel it. Just being a part of you, entering every cell of your body right here and now. Welcome it. Say welcome. Welcome back. Take another deep breath and feel that joining ever even more. Feel how it intertwines with you, who you are now. How it adds to the magnificence of who you are now. The silly, the wonder, the imagination with you now. Thank yourself for allowing this process to occur. Remind yourself you can do this as often as you want. And when you're ready, come back to the room and open your eyes. Dr. Barbara Waterhouse used to say all the time, nothing is lost in divine mind. Nothing is lost. It may be hidden. It may not be out in the open, but this is what we can do to come back to that, to bring those lost parts of ourselves back to us, integrate. This is mystical. When we bring our wholeness together, when we allow that childlike wonder, that creation story that is ours, to be present here now. It's been in there all along. That thread has been carrying. It's been in there all along, showing up in ways that, given some thought, you'd go, oh, there it is. This is where it showed up here in my life. This is where it showed up here. It's been there all along. And now we get to bring it forth even more. And that's what I love about this teaching. And that's what I love about being here. And that's what I love about you guys. Thank you.